So hey there, good to have you with us at this place we call DCC. We are so pumped, so jazzed, so excited to have you with us. And we want you to know that you're welcome and you're safe here with us, regardless of how your story reads, regardless of what you happen to believe. We really are people just like you. Not who used to be like you, put up with people like you, tolerate people like you. We are people just like you. We've all made mistakes. We've hurt people. We've been hurt by people. We all have parts of our lives and stories we wish could erase, change, delete, and do over. So if that sounds like you, me too. So we're glad that you're tuned in. We hope you have a great experience and that you want to come back and do this all over again with us real soon. So let's do this.
Good morning, DCC. Are you guys ready to worship this morning? Let's all stand together. We believe that God is here right now, that God inhabits the praises of his people. So let's all join together. Let's worship God with everything that we have this morning. I saw Satan fall like lightning, and I saw darkness run for cover. But the miracle that I just can't get over, my name is registered in heaven. And I believe in signs and wonders, and I have resurrection power. Oh yes I do. Still the miracle that I just can't get over, my name is registered in heaven. Oh, my praise belongs to you forever. This is my testimony from death to life, 'cause grace rewrote my story. I'll testify, by Jesus Christ the righteous, I'm justified. This is my testimony. This is, I'll testify, by Jesus Christ the righteous, I'm justified. This is my testimony. This is my testimony. Yeah. From death to life. If I'm not dead, you're not done. If I'm not dead, you're not done. Greater things are still to come. Oh, I believe. If I'm not dead, you're not done. Greater things are still to come. Oh, I believe. If I'm not dead, you're not done. Do you believe it? And greater things are still to come. Oh, I believe. If I'm not dead, you're not done. Greater things are still to come. Oh, I believe it. This is my testimony from death to life, 'cause grace rewrote my story. I'll testify, by Jesus Christ the righteous, I'm justified. This is my testimony. Oh, I'm alive. This is my testimony from death to life, 'cause grace rewrote my story. I'll testify, by Jesus Christ the righteous, I'm justified. This is my testimony. This is my testimony. Yeah. From death to life. We are your children, Lord. Have your way here, right now. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Yeah. Hallelujah.
Hello, DCC, and welcome to church. My name is Gina Milne, and I am one of the worship leaders here at Discovery. I've got to be honest, I miss gathering together and all being under one roof as we sing to God, but it is so awesome that we live in a time that we can still gather together as the family of God and lift our voices to Him from all across the city. And so as you engage with the service today, whether it's on your phone or your laptop, or maybe you're airplaying it to your TV and all sitting around together, Just remember that you are not worshiping alone. You can engage in the comments, and we are so glad you're here. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Help us out. Sing this out. God, I'm on my knees again. God, I'm begging, please again. I need you. Oh, I need you. Walking down the stairs of road, a waterfall, my thirsty soul. I need you. Oh, I need you. Your forgiveness is like sweet, sweet honey on my lips. Yeah. It's like the sound of a symphony to my ears. It's like holy water on my skin. Yeah. Thank you, Jesus. Walking slaves to sin. I wanna know about being born again. I need you. Oh God, I need you. So take me to the land of side. Take me under baptize. I need you. Oh God, I need you. Come on, sing. Your forgiveness is like sweet, sweet honey on my lips. It's like the sound of a symphony in my ears. It's like holy water on my skin. Yeah. We come to you with gratitude today, God. Pouring out our worship. Come on, let's sing it together. I don't wanna abuse your grace. God, I need it every day. It's the only thing that ever really makes me wanna change. Come on. I don't wanna abuse your grace. God, I need it every day. It's the only thing that ever really makes me wanna change. Yeah. I don't wanna abuse your grace. God, I need it
Martin Luther King leads the procession to the United Nations.
There was the catastrophe of 1918 when an influenza epidemic swept through our own
Demonstrators protest U.S. involvement in the Vietnam.
President Kennedy died and is now known as Asian influenza.
280 people were arrested across the city on Tuesday. Property fronts and stores were vandalized and robbed by people.
Those gestures are just drops in an ocean of anger and frustration.
Europe's open borders are closing, slow the spread of the coronavirus.
150,000 school children are estimated to not have
strict lockdown measures in France.
Non-essential businesses to close.
The rainforest is being consumed by fire.
President Trump, you saw him live here just a short time ago at the National Prayer Breakfast.
Thousands of Central American migrants are vowing to continue their march to the U.S. border, even though
by Beijing.
Controversial bill was pushed through Hong Kong's legislature.
His name is Edward Snowden. He's an American former CIA.
Flames brought down the spire and much of the roof at Notre Dame Cathedral yesterday. Tiananmen Square on this day in 1989, where thousands defied social distancing rules to hold an
So hey there, good morning, good to see you, good to have you with us. To all of our online friends who are tuning in right now, old and new, good to have you with us too. You know what I've always wondered? I've just thought about this a lot. How cool would it be for me to be a part of our band and our worship team up here? I mean, how cool would that be, right? I mean, I'm here up with, they're all here with me. What do you think, team? We ready? Thumbs up. Let's ready to go. No, don't worry. I'm not going to sing. We wouldn't do that to you. Not a single one of us wants that. I'm up here with the band today because I think we need to do something just a little bit different in this final weekend of this much-needed series that we've been doing called Unknown. If you haven't been with us for the last 6 weeks or so, we've been on this journey together to learn how can we better navigate the unknown that exists in all of our lives and stories. That's everywhere around us in the world that we live today. And you know it's true. Everywhere we turn, there's more and more and more unknown. And so we said, hey, can we be confident in the face of this stuff? Can we actually emerge stronger on the other side of it? Is it possible for us not to only survive it, but to thrive in the face of it? And the conclusion is yes. The answer is every week, yes, 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 yes. But we've been talking about, okay, if that's true, how do we do that? And we've learned a lot. We've learned that the life that God invites us all into is an invitation into the unknown. Can't avoid it. It's an invitation into the unknown, and that he uses the unknown, seasons of unknown in our lives to cultivate in us a faith that is greater than our fear. We've learned that we got to forget the how, what, and why questions. And we got to focus on the who question, who God is and who we are to him. We've learned that as we go through the unknown, we've got to look at the people around us and the unknown in their lives and stories and be willing to step into their unknown with them. Not to fix it or solve it, we can't do that. But we can make sure that not a single person goes through unknown alone. And then last week, we said every season of unknown, every single season of unknown in our lives and stories, every I don't know is an opportunity for us to really grow. Which all brings us to today. We've covered a lot of great stuff, but it all brings us to today and the last weekend of this series. And the reason that I'm up here with the band today, because as you think about it, this is the final leg of the series. We can start this final leg. I could start with an interesting or funny or heartwarming story. We could start the journey together today with a cool quote from a great book. We could start this journey today with some relevant video clips from movies or something like that, and all that'd be great. But what God's put on my heart today, or for us this weekend, is what we actually need most is just a chance to breathe a little bit more and just a little bit more worship. A chance to sit in, stir in, think about, and reflect on this. So we're going to do another song. Listen, you can just stay in your seat if you want to do that. I just want to encourage you, take a deep breath. And you can sing the song if you want to. It's a great song. I'm going to sing it, right? Not from up here, from down there in my seat. My microphone will be off. Don't worry about it. But listen, even if you don't feel like singing, I just want to challenge all of us. Let's just soak in. Let's soak in every single word of this song. Let me pray for us before we do that. Jesus, there is unknown on all of us today. There is no exception to that. No exception at all to that. And we need you. It's heavy. It's exhausting. It's weary. Jesus, what do you want to say to us? What do you want to tell us? What do you want us to know? What do you want us to know about the unknown that we're facing in all of our lives, in all of our stories today? Come, Jesus, speak it to us in your name. Amen.
Every time I try to make it on my own, every time I try to stand, I start to fall. And all those lonely roads that I have traveled on, there was Jesus. When the life I built came crashing to the ground, when the friends I had were nowhere to be found, I couldn't see it then, but I can see it now. There was Jesus. In the waiting, in the searching, in the healing and the hurting, like a blessing buried in the broken pieces. Every minute, every moment, where I've been or where I'm going, even when I didn't know it or couldn't see it, there was Jesus. For this man who needs amazing kind of grace, for forgiveness and a price I couldn't pay. No, I'm not perfect, so I thank God every day that there was Jesus. In the waiting, in the searching, in the healing and the hurting, like a blessing buried in the broken pieces. Every minute, every moment, where I've been and where I'm going, even when I didn't know it or couldn't see it, there was Jesus on the mountains, in the valleys. There was Jesus in the shadows of the alleys. There was Jesus in the fire and in the flood. There was Jesus. Always is and always was. No, I never walked alone. 'Cause you were always there. In the waiting, in the searching, in the healing and the hurting, like a blessing buried in the broken pieces. Oh, every minute, every moment, where I've been and where I'm going, even when I didn't know it or couldn't see it, there was Jesus. There was Jesus. There was Jesus. There was
Yeah, let's give it up one more time for the worship team. They did an awesome job today. Come on, come on. So good. So good. Hey, I don't know if you caught those lyrics or not. In the waiting, in the searching, in the healing, in the hurting, every minute, every moment of every single season of unknown. Even when I didn't know it and couldn't see it, there was Jesus. I don't know. See, I don't know if there's any better thing for us to rally around together as we wrap up this journey that we're on together today. There's just not. So we need to lean hard into that. And we also need to lean hard into a few specific moments in the life of Jesus himself. We shouldn't and we can't shut this down without talking about this. So let's jump into this together today, and let's do just that. If you got a Bible, we're going to be in Matthew today. We're actually going to be in two places, Matthew chapter 8 and Matthew chapter 26. So hold 26, go to chapter 8. We're going to start there. We'll get to 26 in a minute. And again, you have no Bible with you, no big deal. Everything I read is going to be on the screen. So here we go, Matthew chapter 8, starting with verse 18. When Jesus saw the crowd around him, he gave orders to cross to the other side of the lake. Then a teacher of the law came to him and said, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." And Jesus replied, listen to this, "Foxes have dens and birds have nests, but the Son of Man," if you don't know, he's referring to himself here, "but I, the Son of Man, has no place to lay his head." Another disciple said to him, "Lord, first let me go bury my father." And Jesus told him, "Follow me and let the dead bury their own dead. Okay, let's stop right there. Let's unpack this moment just a little bit. So Jesus is doing some teaching. He's teaching a large crowd, and crowds are overwhelming him, and he's saying, let's get away to the other side of the lake, which is the Sea of Galilee in the story. So as the disciples are loading up into the boat to go to the other side of the lake, this teacher of the law comes up and he says, teacher, I will follow you wherever you go. And what's Jesus' response to that? Jesus says, really? Are you sure about that? I don't know if you know what you're committing to when you say that. I'm not so sure. I don't even know where I'm going to sleep tonight. I don't know where I'm going to lay my head tonight. You ready for that? Are you ready to invite that kind of unknown into your life and story? That's kind of the question, isn't it? Is this guy's kind of scratching his head like, well, now that you say that, let me think. The other guy says, wait a minute, I'll do it, but let me go first and bury my father. And Jesus says, nope, you don't get it either. Following me requires me to be your first priority. So what is Jesus really saying to us here? What can we learn from this moment? I think it goes like this. As we walk through this unknown that we're all facing in our lives and stories, we have to learn to understand and embrace this. You ready? We've got to embrace this. You better brace yourself. Here it is. Disciple means discomfort. Disciple means discomfort. See, Jesus, he didn't tell us to go and build spectators and build crowds or build attenders. He says, go and make disciples. And disciple means discomfort. Can I just ask you a question? Do you ever try to follow Jesus on your own terms? Me too. Anybody else in the room do that? I mean, come on, let's be honest with each other. Isn't it what we do? Isn't that what we really want? And isn't that what we try to arrange this whole Jesus following thing to be? The word disciple here in the actual original language, the Greek, is mathetes. And it means a student or follower in a teaching kind of relationship. So like a teacher, student mentor kind of relationship. So according to that definition, you and I could be disciples of anyone. Any one of us could be anyone's disciple. And Jesus knows that, but he says, listen, here's the difference. If you want to be my disciple, you've got to add discomfort to the definition. You better add discomfort to the definition. Now think about that. What do we try to do? We try our best, most of us, we try our best to follow Jesus and to avoid this discomfort piece. And so this teacher of the law comes up and he says, I'll follow you wherever you go. And Jesus is like, wait a minute, time out. I don't know. I don't have a house. I don't have a home. I don't know where I'm sleeping tonight. Do you realize what you're saying when you say that? Does he? That's the question. But here's a better question. What we're saying when we say, I am going to follow Jesus. Our core value, or the hill that we die on in this place that we call dying to self. Can I just tell you this? It's on the wall out there in the lobby. It's not sexy. And it's not popular. It's really not. It is not a great marketing technique, by the way. I mean, it's just, hey, come on in and die. It doesn't work. But according to what Jesus says to us today and throughout his life, it is a necessary part. It is a vital part of the life that all of us came in here looking for today. The life that every single one of us wants. What's Jesus say? He says, here's the life. Come here, you want to follow me? Here's what it looks like. You need to deny yourself. Deny yourself, take up your heavy cross, not once, not twice, every single day, and follow me. That this whole love God, love others as you love yourself thing needs to move to the top of the list. You need to live that out, practically speaking, in your life every single day. How are we doing with that? See, here's our problem. Cross-carrying sucks. Cross-carrying hurts. Cross-carrying is heavy. It's exhausting. And this other-centered living thing, it's not easy. But according to Jesus, what? Both of those two things are necessary parts of what following him is supposed to look like and what following him is supposed to be. And this is why we call disciples, we use a different term here at DCC. Not saying anything wrong with disciple, but we use this term, combat medics. We're trying to raise up combat medics. Jesus says, go and make disciples. Okay, we're calling them combat medics, and here's why. A combat medic, if you think about it, by definition, is what? By definition, is someone who's willing to walk into the unknown. Someone who's willing to walk into harm's way. Someone who's willing to walk into danger or discomfort, there's the word, for the benefit of helping rescue someone else. A combat medic, by definition, is someone who's committed to helping rescue others, knowing that discomfort in battle, that's just a part of the job. So time and time again throughout the life of Jesus, as we're reading and he's teaching us, according to Jesus, the path to the life that we're all chasing after and that we all want will require us over and over and over again to walk through all sorts of unknown with him. So disciple means discomfort. We got to understand that, but maybe the bigger question is, are we willing to embrace that? So let's keep going in the same story. Verse 23 gets interesting. Then he got into the boat, and his disciples followed him. So they load up. They head across the Sea of Galilee. Suddenly a furious storm came up on the lake, which is common still today on the Sea of Galilee, so that the waves swept over the boat. But Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went and woke him, saying, Lord, save us, we're going to drown. And he replied, you have little faith. Why are you so afraid? And then he got up and he rebuked the winds and the waves, and it was completely calm. And check this out. The men were amazed, and they asked, what kind of man is this? Even the winds and the waves obey him. I want to ask you a question about this moment for these disciples. Now, these are his closest friends and the guys that are doing life most closely with him. Here's the question. How beneficial and helpful is all they know about Jesus in this moment to them? All the head knowledge they have about Jesus. How beneficial and helpful is that? And okay, probably beneficial, a little bit helpful, all that. That's good. What's more helpful, and actually what's most helpful in this moment, is not what they know about Jesus. It's what? That Jesus is right there in the boat, in the storm with them. That's what's most helpful to these guys in this moment. Right? What's most helpful? Jesus is right here with me. And so they wake up Jesus. Jesus, we're drowning. The boat's going to sink. We're going to drown and all this. And Jesus is like, whoa, what's Jesus do? What's the first thing he points them to when he wakes up? He points them to this. Guys, this is a problem. We're working on it. Your fear is greater than your faith. We got to turn this thing around. We got to flip this. We've talked about this already in this series. We got to have a faith, and God uses unknown to cultivate a faith that's greater than our fear. He's saying, guys, your fear is greater than your faith. Again, we got to keep working on this. He's like, fine. He stands up. He calms the sea. He calms the storm. He eliminates the unknown from their story. And what is their response? Who is this guy? Right? I mean, check that out. Hold on to that for just a second. Because see, in this moment, in their lives, Jesus does what? What they want him to do. He removes the unknown from their life and story. And sometimes, as you read through the Bible, you'll see sometimes he does that. Sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he doesn't do that for these guys. And you know what? Sometimes he doesn't do that for us either. Sometimes he doesn't take away the storms. What do we do with that? I mean, that's really the question for you and me, isn't it? What about those times when he doesn't? See, it's easy for us to see Jesus in those moments. In those moments when he does exactly what we're asking him to do, or he does exactly what we're wanting him to do. It's easy. Oh, yeah, there's Jesus, there's Jesus. But the question is, what about those times when he doesn't? See, there's something else as we navigate the unknown in our lives and stories that we have to understand and embrace here. And it's this. You ready? Presence doesn't always mean performance. That God's presence with me is not determined. Whether or not he's with me is not determined by whether he is doing what I'm asking him to do or I want him to do. Presence doesn't always mean performance. Think about these disciples, his closest guys. But if you really think about it in this moment, who is this guy? They don't understand who Jesus is. They don't know what Jesus is all about. They don't know what all that Jesus came to do for them. And I just want to tell you something. That's not uncommon. That's not uncommon in church world either. There's a lot of us in this room. We've been doing church our whole lives, for years and years, decades of our lives, and we don't either. We don't really understand that either. Every storm, every season of opportunity of unknown is an opportunity for me and for you to do what? To do exactly what the disciples are getting the opportunity to do here. You know what it is? It's to really and truly experience Jesus. There's the word, to experience Jesus. Because come on, in church world, yeah, we know Jesus. Yeah, I know Jesus. I know Jesus. We know a lot about Jesus. I tell you lots of stories about Jesus. Yeah, I know my Bible. I know a lot about Jesus. And we all give, a lot of us, we give what? We gave our lives to Jesus. We remember that day. The preacher was down there. I went forward. I said, I believe in Jesus, and take me under baptized. We sang the song Holy Water. Amazing song. We sang that lyric just a few minutes ago. Yep, I remember that. Gave my life to Jesus. And I'm committed today to knowing more and more and more about Jesus. I really am. That's great. And I want to help other people know Jesus. And that's great too. But here's the thing. Here's what we need to understand. We can do all of that, every single bit of that, every single day, and still miss out. Somehow, some way, miss out on really, what's the word? Experiencing Jesus. See, there is always more to experience with Jesus. As you sit here and you're unknown today, I don't know what you carried in here, you're hopeless, you just feel like it's weary, you're worn out, you're exhausted, whatever it might be, your hope is in this. There's always more to experience today with Jesus. There is always more. And this is why our mission statement in this place, help people discover their stories, experience Jesus, live to rescue. Experience Jesus is a daily way of life. It's not a once and done thing. Now here's the problem. In church world, we often treat it as a once and done thing, don't we? Think about it. Yeah, I experienced Jesus. For me, I was 11 years old. I went forward. I gave my life to Jesus. I experienced Jesus then. And someday, guess what I get to do? I get to experience Jesus again when he comes back to get me. It's so good. And so that's what it's about, right? I experienced Jesus once. I get to experience Jesus again. But what about this gap in between, which is what? The life that we're living today. What about that? What about the gap between what was when you accepted Jesus and what will be when he returns? What are we doing with that? I'm going to tell you what we often do, especially in church world. We reduce the life in that gap to a life of knowledge and obedience. Knowledge and behavior. Now, nothing wrong with that. Those are good things. But if that alone is what you're trying to fill this gap with, here's what I promise you. You will come up empty. You will eventually lose heart. And you will eventually go, what am I doing? It happens to all of us. There's a missing piece. It's not just about a life of knowledge and obedience or behavior. It's a life of experiencing Jesus. That's why I love this lyric in that song. I don't know if you caught it or not, but there was Jesus in the fire, in the flood. There was Jesus, here we go, always is and always was. Always is, present tense today in this room with us, watching online with us, always is right here with us. I will never walk alone. Jared just sang it. I will never walk alone. Never be alone. He is always there. So as we look back on our lives and stories, here's what we're going to see. You're going to be able to point to moments. You go, there was Jesus. There was Jesus. Oh, yep, he showed up there. There was Jesus. And that's important. But what's more important is this. Even when the circumstances of our life are not changing the way we want them to, even when they're not changing in the way we're asking for God to change them, here's what's better than there was Jesus. There is Jesus. There is Jesus right here with me in this. Last Saturday morning, beautiful morning. Stacy fixed breakfast. She fixed good breakfast on Saturday morning. And so it was a beautiful day. It was cool outside. The sun was out. And so she said, hey, let's sit out and eat breakfast on the deck. So we go out on the deck. Now, I didn't take a good spirit out there. I was really heavy that day. I was just feeling, I'd already sat in my chair for an hour and a half before she got up that morning, just journaling through some stuff. And I was feeling pretty defeated. And so I started talking to her about it. I said, babe, I got a lot on my mind. Can we just talk? And so I just started unpacking, all the criticisms, all the complaints, all the emails, all the comments, all the stuff and leading through. We're all weary this last 6 months. I'm weary too. And I feel so depleted, so exhausted, so discouraged, and as I talked, it didn't get better. It got worse. And she's feeling the heaviness and she didn't know what to say or what to do. I mean, what do you do with that? And then all of a sudden, as I'm sitting there just kind of unpacking it all, she goes, hey, Greg, look over your left shoulder. Is that a hummingbird? And I looked over my left shoulder, and there's a hummingbird making its way around the flower basket. It's amazing. You're like, well, I see hummingbirds all the time. Great for you. I don't, right? And so I see this little hummingbird, and you're like, what's the big deal? It's just a hummingbird. Well, let me just tell you something. So 2 years ago, I haven't seen a hummingbird at my house in 2 years. 2 years. And when it showed up the last time, when the hummingbird showed up, I was at an all-time low in this journey, this 12-year journey. We were going through some staff turmoil and stuff here at the church. It was the all-time low. It was so freaking heavy. I'm sitting on my deck one morning. I'm like, God, where are you in this? I need you. Gosh, I need you. I'm just saying it, right? I need you. God, where are you? And in that moment, a hummingbird showed up, and he starts circling around a flower box. And then check this out. He comes over, and he sits about 12 inches from my face and just hovers in front of me. Have you ever had that happen? Right, this hummingbird's just like looking at me. I'm like, hey, dude. It's just like, he's like, and I knew in that minute, this is not just a hummingbird. God's in this hummingbird right now for me. Later that day, I'd never seen a hummingbird in my house before. I shows up. Later that day, I'm walking the dog. He's sniffing around the bush. I'm like from here to the corner of the stage. And all of a sudden, a hummingbird comes out of the bush and just hovers above the bush looking at me. I saw 2 hummingbirds in one day, all right? I was like, this is amazing. I felt it. It wasn't just what I saw. It's what I felt. I felt like God saying, I'm right here. I've got you. I see you. We'll get through this together. It was amazing. In fact, it moved me so much. I did some research, and it says, hummingbirds are an indication of the presence of God. Now, God didn't write that, but I'm going to go with it, okay? But it moved me so much. I've tried to trick God into doing it again, right? I'm like, come on back, hummingbirds. In fact, my girls bought me a hummingbird feeder for Father's Day. It's amazing. And so I filled it up with a little red juice. know what I'm talking about? The sugar water, whatever that stuff is, and made it red because they like red. And it's like, okay, here we go. And then then I added a little CBD just to spice it up a little bit. And so so I haven't seen a hummingbird, but I've seen a lot of happy birds. Let's just say that. So anyway, I got my feeder out. It's all good. It's like, go. Haven't seen a single hummingbird until that hummingbird showed up last week, just when I needed it most. Now, you could say to me, dude, that's just coincidence. That's stupid. That's just a bird. It doesn't matter. I don't believe it. I'm saying that's Jesus. That's Jesus. Because here's the deal. Nothing changed about my circumstances. Things didn't feel heavy when I started, light when it was over. The unknown that I walked into the conversation with, guess what? I walked out of the conversation with every bit of the unknown. It didn't matter. Why? Because Jesus showed up to me, and in that moment, what he said to me was this: I'm going to see you through this. I'm right here, and I will see you through this. Presence doesn't always mean performance. As you're trying to navigate the unknown, you have to learn to hold on to that. All right, well, one last moment in the life of Jesus before we wrap this up, okay? I want to skip back to Matthew chapter 26 now. And so Jesus had 3 years of ministry. He's getting ready to be betrayed, arrested, crucified. And so he gets his guys, his disciples. He says, let's go pray. Let's go to the Garden of Gethsemane. And so they head out to the garden, and he stations most of the guys in one place. Then he takes Peter, James, and John, goes a little bit further, says, you guys stay here. And he says this to them. This is so significant. He says, my heart is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. This is serious stuff. And then he goes on by himself to pray. And that's where I want to pick it up. So here we are, Matthew chapter 26, verse 39. Going a little farther, he, Jesus, fell with his face to the ground. He prayed, my Father, if it's possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will. Then he returned to the disciples and found them sleeping. Couldn't you men keep watching me for 1 hour, he asked Peter. So Jesus goes back to his buddies, his closest buddies, the guys he relies on. And what? They're not praying, they're sleeping. And so he wakes him up and he says, really, dude, couldn't you just hang with me and pray with me for an hour? And then he goes back a second time to pray. And he comes back a second time. And guess what? They're sleeping again. And this time he's like, forget it. He doesn't even wake them up the second time. You remember what we talked about last week? We said people are great, and having the right people around us in times of hurt and unknown is important, but people can only take us so far. We're seeing it up close and personal in this very moment with Jesus himself. He leaves them asleep. He goes away. He prays the exact same thing a third time. Let's read it. Verse 44. So he left them after the second time of sleeping and went away once more, and he prayed the third time, saying the same thing. It's important. Then he returned to the disciples and said to them, are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come, and the Son of Man is delivered into the hand of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer. All right, I want you to think about this moment. Let's pause here. Think about this moment. Here's the question. Does Jesus know what it's going to be like to be tortured in the house of Caiaphas, the high priest, in an hour or so? He doesn't know what that's going to feel like. No. Does Jesus know what it's going to feel like to have the skin ripped off of his back with a whip? No. Does Jesus know what it's going to feel like and be like to have a crown of thorns mashed into his face and into his head? No. Does Jesus know what it's going to be like to have to carry that heavy cross up that hill as he's bleeding out? No. Does Jesus know what it's going to be like to be nailed to that cross? No, he doesn't. Does he know how hard it's going to be for him to breathe as he's hanging on the cross? No. Does he know what it's going to be like to have a spear thrust into his side? No, he doesn't. See, what I'm trying to help you see is this. There is so much unknown. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots, plus some unknown in the last 24 hours of the life of Jesus himself, which leaves him what? Overwhelmed. Just like it does what? Us. Of course it overwhelms us. So what does Jesus do? He prays. And what's he pray for? God, please take this away. Nothing wrong with that. God, please take this away. Can this cup pass from me? Can we do this another way? But as those words come off his tongue, he finishes with this, but not my will, but yours be done. Not my will, but yours be done. And then he gets up and he goes over and he wakes up his sleeping knucklehead buddies. He says, let's go. And he walks towards his betrayer and walks into the most unknown he's ever experienced in his life before. And all he knows is what? His Father is with him. I want to tell you something. There's something here for us. There's something here for us as we walk out of here today and back into the unknown in our lives and stories too. It's the moment with the disciples in the boat. Oh my gosh, the water's coming in, the boat's going to sink, we're going to drown, we're going to die. It's not good, unsure, uncertain, unknown. But what do they know? What can they be sure of in that moment? Unsure how this is going to play out? But I can be sure of this: Jesus is right here in the storm with me. So I'm telling you, this journey really boils down to one simple question. I'm going to go back because I skipped over this. All right, here's the point that I was supposed to make. We should do what Jesus does. All right, that's always a good answer, by the way. Do what Jesus does. Here's where we want to land the plane today. We should pray for a way out of it as we continue to follow Jesus through it. That's what we should do, right? Someone asked me this past week. They said, "Hey, Greg, does that mean I'm wrong if I'm praying for this unknown to go away?" Of course not. Pray. Have your friends pray. Have your families pray. Pray. But as you do that, what? Realize this, that the fact that your circumstances are not changing the way you want them to or that you need them to is no indication that God's not there and that he doesn't care. This journey that we've been on together for 7 weeks now boils down to one question. All boils down to one question, one simple question. It's really the only question. Are you ready for it? God, how do I follow you into the unknown? How do I follow you into the unknown? That's the question. That's the only question. See, Disney, they had no idea what a favor they were doing us when they wrote that song. They didn't know they were writing that for church people, right? They didn't know that that was going to actually become the theme song for this entire series, which it has. In fact, so much so that I've asked Gina and the band to come back out and do it one more time for us today, okay? So we're going to do that. So here's the thing. Listen. Yeah, you clap for that. That's amazing. Hey, don't check out. Don't let go. Lots more ground to cover. We haven't hit the finish line yet. It gets better. So hang with me in this moment, right? Disney had no idea the favor they were doing us when they wrote this particular song, Into the Unknown. Now, here's what I want to ask you to do as we do this song. I want to ask you to sit there or to stand up, to clap, to cheer, to hoot and holler, to play your tambourine. Not really that one. To dance, to sit back in your seat and take in the words. We're going to put the words up here on the screen for you. We've covered a lot of ground in the last 7 weeks. In the last 4 weeks since we've done that song, here's what I want to tell you. This song is going to have different meaning today than it did 4 weeks ago because of the ground we've covered together. So whatever it is you choose to do, all right? Whatever you choose to do, you do that. But let's let the band know that we're here with them as we do this song one more time.
Blocking out your calls. I've had my adventure. I don't need something new. I'm afraid of what I'm risking if I follow you into the unknown. Into the unknown. Into the unknown. Are you here to distract me so I make a big mistake? Or are you someone out there who's a little bit like me, who knows deep down I'm not where I'm meant to be? Every day is a little harder as I feel your power grow. Don't you know there's part of me that longs to go into the unknown? Oh, don't leave me alone. How do I follow you into the
Yeah, all right. Woo, that was good. That was good, so good. Hey, you can have a seat. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, here's the deal. Listen, that song was probably not written with church in mind. I doubt it. That song was not written with church people in mind, but I want to tell you something. That's my story. It's your story. It's our stories. It's our journey. It is the tension that we walk in. When we walk out of here, out of this series today and back into the unknown that exists in all of our lives and stories today. You know what I hope? I hope we ruined that song for you for the rest of your life. And that the next time you hear that song, that you won't be thinking of Olaf or Elsa, that you be asking the question, God, are you out there? Do you know me? Can you feel me? Can you show me? Can you show me what? God, how do I follow you into the unknown? I just want to challenge you today as we leave this to make that question your question. To lean in, not just to there was Jesus, but there is Jesus. To lean into the Jesus of Revelation 1:8 where he says, I'm the Alpha and the Omega. I'm the beginning and I'm the end. I am the Lord God who was, who is today, and who is to come. I want to challenge you to lean into that. Not just there was Jesus. There is Jesus. We need to get recentered. We need to get recentered. We need to get centered around and lock back into what we focus on as we follow God into the unknown and out of this series together today. And it's this, who God is and who he says that. We're going to sing one more song. If you stand up, we're going to sing this song. I want you to sing it like you mean it. I want you to belt it out. I want you to get into it. You let go. You do whatever God leads you to do. And as you do that, I want to say this to you. The best advice I can give you as we come to an end in this journey is this. Every single moment of every single day of your life, things will be better if you just somehow, some way will make this last song your song. Let me pray for us. Jesus, there's lots of voices out there in the world that have lots of things to say to us about who we are. There's the background music that's played through the course of our lives and stories. She said this, he said this, she said this, he said this. And we've taken those things and we've allowed those, we've entered vows, we've entered agreements. There's these messages that come our way and we say, yeah, that's who I am. Would you help us to break that today? Would you help us to stop that message? That vow, that agreement, that recording, would you help us to shut it down? And Jesus, in these last few minutes, as we walk out of this series back into the unknown, would you help us to hear who we are to you? God, I pray hope over every one of our hearts as we listen, as we hear, as we receive from you, and as we walk back out into the unknown. No, come Jesus, in your name.
Let's sing together. Who am I that the highest king would welcome? I was lost, but he brought me in. Oh, his love for me. Oh, his love for me. Come on. Who the sun sets free, oh, is free. I'm the child of God, yes I am. Realize he has ransomed me, his grace runs I just want to remind you, you are not the sum of your mistakes. You're not defined by shame. You're not defined by guilt. You're not defined by the dark corners, the shadows of your life. You are forever, today and forever, defined by being sons and daughters of the Most High God. Can we celebrate that today, declare that today, believe that today as we go back into this bridge in just a minute here. I just want this room to erupt with conviction, believing, having faith that the words we're singing are true. We are chosen, loved by God. No matter what we do. Oh, we receive your love. We receive your acceptance today, God. I am chosen, not forsaken. Come on.
I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me.
I am who you say I am. Every voice, come on, sing. I am chosen, yeah.
Not forsaken.
I am who you say I am, yeah. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. Oh, I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am, yeah. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. Oh, I am who you say I am. Oh, I am who you say I am. God, the stars shine bright. Oh, it's free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. We believe it today. We believe it.
Hey everyone, no matter where you are, thanks for joining us this weekend. Hey, if you're new here, we want you to know that your story's safe and that we love you. And if you'll go to livetorescue.com and you click on New Here, you can fill out a Connect card, and that way we get to know you better and we can reach out and you can learn more about us. I have a great announcement for the women's community at DCC. We have the gathering that's coming up. And that's August 7th at 6:30 p.m. Brooke Archuleta is actually going to be our speaker, and she's talking about gratitude in the unknown. This is a Facebook Live event only. So to attend, you got to make sure that you like our Facebook page and then you watch on August 7th at 6:30. Hey, next week we're going to start a new series. It's called One Blood. And this is going to be the biggest, most involved series in DCC history. And so if you want to know more about what this is about, go to onebloodcos.com. onebloodcos.com. One of the things that we love to do here at DCC is to take everything that comes in, and before we ever pay a bill, before we ever pay a paycheck, before we ever do anything, we put that money out and we put it to work out in the community and outside the four walls of this church with ministry partners and all kinds of things that we support and get behind. And so we're not asking you to give to us, but to give through us. Check this out.
At Discovery Church, we cherish our partnerships with ministry partners like Springs Rescue Mission, because they exist to see lives in our city transformed and filled with hope. Springs Rescue Mission partners with churches, other nonprofits, and the city to mobilize all of us to provide relief, rehabilitation, and empowerment for those in need. As you can imagine, their needs have grown significantly through this time of shutdown and pandemic. We aren't just asking you to give to us, but through us to our ministry partners fighting on the front lines for the most at risk in our community. Will you join us?
Hey everybody, again, we're really excited that you were part of the services this week. We're so thankful that you're part of our community. If we can help you out with prayer, don't forget, hit us up at prayer@livetorescue.com. And if there's anything that we can help you out with, or you want to start helping us out in the community, you can hit us at help@livetorescue.com. Thanks again, we'll see you next week.